Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. My name is Tosh Customs, and today we are taking a look at my custom Transformers Studio Series Leader Class The Fallen. This is the first review I've been doing in a couple weeks now, and that's because since the last time I've talked to y'all, I've gotten married. So I've spent the last 2 weeks settling in with my now wife into the apartment, getting our stuff all sorted out, figuring out workspace, figuring out where I'm going to put, my work table, just getting things organized. But I'm finally back. And in the midst of all that, I was like, I still got to do something. And so I have been repainting this incredible Transformers figure. Now, you guys might be going, why in the world is there a transformer, a custom transformer at that, on the Tosh Customs page? I don't normally collect transformers. I'm not a huge transformer guy. I'm not really caught up with the lore. I don't read the comics. However, this was a must-have for me because of the fact that I remember when the movie came out. And I remember one of my childhood friends at that time, he had the original Fallen figure, the one that was kind of brownish red and had all like the solar flare effects that would come out of the body. And I was always really jealous of the fact that he had that transformer. I really wanted it, but it was too expensive. I was never able to get it. And then, as the years went by, you just kind of realize the quality of that figure. And, as the years went by, I was like, wow, the articulation's kind of whack. He's not very movie accurate. I can hard pass on that. But I've always had love for the character. I've always had love for the design. And that's largely because of how unique it is. It is so alien. It's so menacing. And so when I saw that Hasbro had announced that they were releasing a Studio Series Fallen figure, I hopped on it. I had that pre-order day one. And I got it in and I repainted it because as cool as the Studio Series paint job was, they made a lot of weird choices. If you care about Transformers at all, you either own him and you know about some of the weird clear plastic choices or how, not a lot of orange is picked out in the body. And obviously, the amount of detail here is way more than Hasbro could ever do. But you have to take it into your own hands, and so that's exactly what I did. So I wanted to just quickly bring this to you guys, show you the figure, and also talk about what I did, what steps I took to repaint this guy. So starting off, they used clear plastic for all the black components on this guy, and the original figure is made up between a gunmetal gray, like standard gunmetal gray plastic for more of your joints. And then for more of your other sculpted pieces, like your armor on your shoulders, on your head, on your arms, anything that's not like main joints that needs to be hard plastic, they did it in sort of this trans clear smoky black. And it looks good at a distance, but if you hold it up to light, you can see like right through it. And so it was a very, very odd choice. And so when repainting this guy, I completely blacked him out. So I actually got Angelus leather black paint because it's semi-gloss, and I'll explain why I chose semi-gloss a little bit later. But it's a semi-gloss black, and so I repainted this entire guy semi-gloss black. I bent all the joints out, made sure I got all the cracks and everything. So semi-clear black. Then after that, I went through with a black gray from Model Color. And the reason why I'm going through a black gray directly after the semi-gloss is so that it adds a sort of hard texture to it. When everything's glossy, everything's super shiny and smooth, it's hard to tell where your edges and your details are. Your light bounces and refracts in a weird way, and so a lot of the edges become soft, especially to a camera. So I dry brushed it in black gray to just get some of your hard edges picked out. After that, I detailed everything with the orange. And the reason I did the orange at that step is because I didn't want any orange tint getting into the metal paints I was adding later. So what I mean by that is it's very hard to go through each of these lines and do them by hand. I'm sure some people have, but it's way too meticulous. So what I did was I took my orange, I thinned it out a little bit, and then I painted over the whole thing, And then I took a cloth and I took my finger and I just sort of swiped off the excess water so that it just sat in the cracks. And some of them I had to go through with a very fine tip brush. I think I'm using a 10/0 pointer brush, to get some of the smaller details. But a lot of these, they're sculpted in and they have a decent enough divot that you can use that technique. So just sort of paint over everything and then just take your finger and swipe it up so that the paint will sit inside the crack and you can get all of it that's like on the, sort of the main plate. And so I use that technique throughout this guy to get all those orange lines. And it made the work a lot faster. And so as you can see here, we have all the orange lines all along the side there, all up in the neck. I'll actually pop off the head. I didn't repaint the head because I liked the light piping, and I'm never going to display him without the head. He's got like this weird parrot mouth. So I'm never going to display him without the head. He looks kind of odd. But you can see I painted all the orange up here, even down here glowing in these little arm bicep sections. So a ton of detail there. So now that we have all the orange lining in, and that's honestly the most tedious part of this design, where do we go from there? So I was looking at movie stills as well as what Hasbro was going. Sorry, I'm trying to get this mask back on. So you have to you tab it in up here and then you just sort of slide it down. There we go, slide it down and over. So I was looking at the movie stills and as well as the original paint job that Hasbro gave him. And it was really cool, except they just did everything in a metallic blue. And this guy, if you're familiar with the movie, he's supposed to be harvesting the sun. He's got this burning effect, like all this orange energy is glowing out of him. And so I didn't want to just do metallic blue. Hasbro, they put metallic blue on all these fins here. They put metallic blue on this chest piece. And then everything else was just kind of black and gray. So instead, what I went for is a blue and purple color shifter. You can see it right there. You can see the undertone of purple, the upper tone of blue. And as we shift it, you can see that he's got all these different color shifting parts. You can see it on the little fin whisker things on the side of his head there. He's got it all on the arms. Check that out. Got it running on the legs too. And some of them, like on the edge here, I dry brushed it so you can still see that black gray on the inside. And so it's just like they're heat treated on, almost like where they'd be like burning out, sort of like the exhaust. Got it on the front panels of these legs. A little dry brushing up along the surface there. Got some around this hip piece. Got some, just a little bit of tinge right around the knees there, as well as on these lower parts of the legs. And there's a little bit of hint of it on the toe. You can kind of see it there, but I left it very faint. I didn't want the ones on the toes to be too strong. So super cool design. I'm really happy with the blue and purple color shifter. It gets the job done and it's not too strong. I've been seeing a couple other people in the custom Transformers community repainting these guys, and they do a super saturated blue or a super saturated purple. Like even though it's metallic, it's very punchy. And I didn't want to do that either. In the movie, it's very subtle to the point where, if you're not paying attention much, you'll probably miss that heat treated metal, that extra metal burn glow. And so I wanted to keep my color shifter a bit more subtle as well, just to sort of match that look in the movie. Now, there are some color applications and things that do differ from the movie on this guy. I had to tosh it up a little bit, I guess. And so part of my inspiration was the original promo art. And if you guys remember the original promo art, he actually has like a much longer head, as well as some of the details of his armor are a bit different. And that showed up in a lot of the early Transformers promotional image. It's sort of like how Hasbro, and Marvel Legends, when they're working with, Marvel Studios, their movie figures tend to look a little bit different than what actually shows up on screen. And that's because they get early images before the actual movie releases or the actual show releases, before the official character is put out. And so taking some inspiration from that, I wanted to put a lot more orange in than necessarily what shows up in the movie. There's a ton of orange in the promo images, like everything is lined in orange. And that's just not the case for the film a lot of the time, or it wasn't as noticeable, but I wanted to go for a lot more orange application on this guy. Along with that, coming to the head here, let me tilt some lights down. Let's take a look at that light piping right there. Get that really, really nice orange glow coming out of the eyes right there. And that looks super good. I didn't want to repaint the eyes. I wanted to keep the light piping so you can really, really stare at you. So we got that. But then what I did was I added some gold to the, sorry, let me get that camera to stop shaking. I added some gold to the crest on the head. I like how this sort of looks like the Decepticon logo up there, as well as put some gold into these vents and mixed between chrome silver and a bright gold along this mouthpiece all the way down. The Studio Series Repaint puts it all in a chrome silver, but I feel like as the leader of the Decepticons, the very sort of dark background character as Megatronus Prime, he should have some gold in him. Gives him a little bit more of a regal and royal look. And so on some of these little mandible sections here, up on the front of the mouth plate, as well as part of like this nose grill, it is mixed between gold and silver all the way up. I also did a little bit of a silver, whoops, sorry, camera shake again. I did a little bit of a silver highlight directly under that eye so that it picks out the edges of the eyes more. Otherwise, when it's all black and you're not seeing the light piping, it's hard to identify where the eyeballs are. Having that little bit of silver right there gives you just a little bit of a visual indicator. So I painted all that, and then I painted the color shifters, and then I dry brushed everything with a very light gunmetal and then with a very light chrome silver. And so you can see how you get some really, really nice weathering effects along the toes. You can see all that chrome silver weathering along these edges here as well with the gunmetal. You can see a lot of gunmetal and chrome silver on these abs, on these little ab plates here. And we have all the orange in there as well. And that, makes him get that extra hard and metal effect. But going back to that glossy black, the reason why I did the semi-gloss black is for these color shifters. Color shifters show up particularly well when they have a reflective surface under them. And so I went with the semi-gloss black versus a full gloss black because I knew that there were going to be some of these like deep crevice sections that I wasn't going to be able to dry brush very well. And so if they were a super high gloss, it would come off too shiny in those cracks. So semi-gloss was that nice middle ground to get the reflective surface for the color shifters to really shine and shift off of. And then everything else was, close enough to matte that when dry brushing it and putting metal over it, it wouldn't look soft, but I'd be able to still get across that hard plate look. So with that, that brings me to the end of the review. It's a very simple guy. I didn't detail the back very much due to the fact that no one's ever going to see it, so I didn't feel like I wanted to do orange lining there. But just an absolutely incredible figure. I really, really love how all of this guy turned out, and so I wanted to share it with you. To my customers out there, I am going to be getting back to commissions this upcoming week. So hopefully I'll be able to get some updates to you guys. Once again, I want to thank everyone for their patience throughout sort of this transition of the last 2 months. And I'm really excited to get back onto the grind, bringing you guys more videos and bringing you guys more posts. So please like and subscribe and comment. I appreciate all your guys' support. And if you want to see more of what I'm working on, please go check out the Instagram. Other than that, I will catch you later, and I can't wait to be bringing you guys more custom figures once again. Thank you. Take care.